And then we have the discussion about ICLEI. As is noted in the staff report, ICLEI was founded in 1999 at a meeting of 200 cities and counties at the United Nations building. They now have a Congress that meets every 3 years, and subsequent meetings have been at other locations, typically ICLEI members in countries around the world. I think the last one in 2009 was in Alberta, Canada, and the next one in 2012 is being held in Brazil. They are a non-profit 501c3 organization. They are not a governmental entity, and they have no authority or power over any city or county in the state or the nation for that matter. Their role in green programs is to provide information, software, best practices on environmental programs and sustainability. They have over 500 members in the United States and over 1,200 members worldwide. The city's membership in ICLEI, which costs $600 a year, was approved by the City Council in 1997 as part of our effort to do the initial greenhouse gas inventory for the city government. They also provided Excel templates and best practices during the preparation of the city's climate action plan, and they have also been involved in a number of other projects. Most recently, they're working with 511.org on surveys for cities and private businesses to encourage car sharing and carpooling. And they also have an upcoming partnership with KEMA, one of the consultants working with CCAG on the RICAPS project to do some energy efficiency work. Staff recommends continuing the membership. We also heard some discussion about so-called Agenda 21 in the United Nations. It was an interesting discussion because prior to August, the city had never heard of either Agenda 21 or the process that it went through. We were urged to look into it and what the federal government was doing, so we did. What we learned was that this was a International Sustainability Action Plan, as it's called. It was generated during the United Nations, what they called the Earth Summit, held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 1992. It was adopted by 178 countries, including the United States. The U.S. action was taken by President George H.W. Bush, which was 4 presidents ago. We also heard last week from some of the folks, the anti-sustainability group, that they question whether or not this was appropriately done because it was not acted on by the Congress.
Are you aware of any language in Agenda 21 stated goals as to the intention to eliminate property rights or redistribute wealth in the United States? Are you aware of any language in Agenda 21 stated goals as to the intention to eliminate property rights or redistribute wealth in the United States?
I don't recall seeing that, although I do know that there is some language in that action plan desiring to reduce poverty. There's some discussion about that.
When I read through the questions and answers that you had given to the different folks that had, you formulated all these questions, and then you had answers to them. For that, how much research did staff, you or whoever, do to come up with those answers?
We essentially talked to other cities. We talked to the folks at ICLEI. We talked to the League of Cities. We talked to various folks who have worked in this area, and we've also done some document research as well as research on the web.
Okay. You said that we reviewed their bylaws when...
Well, when the City Council first joined ICLEI, we attached a copy of the bylaws of ICLEI, and we also talked about the membership criteria, yes.
You did?
We sure did, in 1997, yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't recall that at all.
Yeah, we sure did. I went back and looked at the staff report. In fact, there was a...
Did we have video back then?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know.
Christine, what year was it? 97.
Oh, excuse me. No, it's actually.
It wasn't 97.
It was 2007. Excuse me.
2007.
Yeah, we probably did have video then. Yes,
97.
we have video on the staff report and your resolution and the contract. There was a contract between the City of San Carlos, ICLEI. There was also another party that, or two other parties to that contract: joint venture Silicon Valley and Sustainable Silicon Valley. They were like a multi-party. And the purpose of that contract, we were one of 13 agencies in Silicon Valley that worked with those agencies to create the city's greenhouse gas inventory for 2007.
Any chance that state laws and regs, for example, let's pick one of them, SB 375. Well, coming from the state, any chance that came from the state, but the impetus for the state action originated from recommendations authored by the UN, perhaps at one of their conferences?
Nope.
You don't think so?
Nope, absolutely not.
Okay.
In fact, we actually negotiated some of the terms of SB 375 with former Assembly Member Ruskin and Mr. Steinberg.
I'm sorry, Mr. Moore. I'm not saying that the actual language and writing of the law was done somewhere else. What I'm saying is the concept, the idea of the law, the impetus for the law came from somewhere else.
No.
You don't think so?
No, it came from Mr. Steinberg. Absolutely.
Council members, these people are serious. What they're reading, what they're looking at is serious. They're not here because they're playing games. And I'm going to tell you, as a fellow council member, I'm pleading with you, vote us out of ICLEI. Like the one gentleman said, I've been not paying attention to this, and some people have brought it to my attention and I was pushing it away. Just last night, in preparation for this meeting, similar to what this gentleman back here said from San Jose, spending 30 minutes on the internet is all it took. And I would ask you to think to yourselves, gentlemen, why would our staff tell us in answering questions? Here's the question. I have recently become aware that San Carlos has membership in ICLEI. ICLEI arose from a United Nations sponsored program titled Agenda 21. Answer, incorrect. ICLEI was founded in 1990. You heard the answers. You heard other people point it out. That's a bald-faced lie in our staff report. It says here there's no connection of ICLEI to Agenda 21 or the UN. That's a bald-faced lie. All you have to do is do a little research on the internet and you can find the answer. They are connected. Do you see a thread? There is a thread. This is all coming from the same place, fellas. Our membership in ICLEI, if nothing else, that's $600 we give them every year, helps them along with what they're doing. Mr. Mora said that he asked the question, San Carlos, he made the statement, San Carlos is not affected by the UN or Agenda 21. And then I asked Mr. Mora, where did the term sustainability come from? Well, the term sustainability came from the Secretary General of the United Nations in 1983 asked Prime Minister of Norway, and I can't pronounce her name, but it's something like Brundtland, to create an organization to focus on environmental and developmental problems and social and solutions after an affirmation by the General Assembly resolution in the fall of 1984. Out of that report, the Brundtland Commission, they came up with the term sustainable development. That's where it got coined, in their paper that came out of that commission. That was the United Nations. Created the term, coined the term, defined the term. Mr. Mayor, is sustainable development, that term, not in our general plan? It is. That was my point to Mr. Mora, that when I made the point that do you not think SB 375 and other laws that he said came down from the state and we have no control over and so forth, do you not think those are coming from NGOs and their work, the work of the United Nations and ICLEI and organizations like it? They're creating these concepts and ideas. Look into the Association, American Association of Planners. Al Savay is a member. Where do they get their training? A lot of their material comes from Agenda 21, UN Agenda 21. This is a sick attack on the United States of America. Why do you think they didn't want to have, Mr. Moore didn't want to have any association with the United Nations? Because of what the United Nations believes about property rights. I think somebody here said it. The United Nations doesn't believe in property rights for individuals. The United Nations believes that, here it is, land cannot be treated as an ordinary asset controlled by individuals and subject to the pressures and inefficiencies of the market. Private land ownership is also a principal instrument of accumulation and concentration of wealth and therefore contributes to social injustice. If unchecked, it may become a major obstacle in the planning and implementation of development schemes. The provision of decent dwellings and healthy conditions for the people can only be achieved if land is used in the interest of society as a whole. Public control of land is therefore indispensable. This comes from the land policy of the United Nations, officially articulated at the United Nations Conference on Human Settlements held in Vancouver, May 31st, June 11, 1976. May 31st through June 11, 1976. That's why they don't want you to know the connection of ICLEI to Agenda 21, the United Nations. I suggest we remove ourselves from this organization. As people have said, we have made an oath when we took office to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. And this stuff flies right in the face of both constitutions.
I move that the City of San Carlos, I guess what I want to say is retain its membership. Reaffirm its membership in ICLEI.
Is there a second? I'll second it.
Of course you will.
Any discussion?
Madam
Clerk?
Councilmember Collins?
Yes.
Councilmember Versilli?
Yes.
Councilmember Rovell?
No.
Councilmember Olbert?
Yes.
Mayor Klein?
Yes. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Have a good night.
On record.